audience. Didn't expect to see you today. Sorry, I spent the last whole major video attacking a horribly made attraction based on a good movie about the ocean, you know? So, I'm kind of depressed. Hold up. That gives me an idea. Maybe doing the inverse is exactly what I need as a pick-me-up. A video about a well-designed, enjoyable attraction based on a bad movie about the ocean. Tendo, you genius. And then I think I know just where to find the perfect subject matter. Come with me. Yep, this is the topic for today. No, I'm not kidding. No joke. Well, lots of jokes. But this isn't one of them. Waterworld is actually really good. And for the ignorant, uneducated children in the back, let me explain why that's a contentious statement. Years ago, back in a bizarre era known as the 1980s, film ripoffs done for cheap were a much more blatant and common affair. Unlike nowadays, where it only really happens with major animated films. And at the time, there was a huge new hit film on the scene. A dark, violent, post-apocalyptic action film called Mad Max. Because Angry Alex and Pissed Pete clearly didn't do well in testing. At the time, a screenwriter named Peter Rader was tasked with writing a script for one of these ripoff films, coming up with the idea of replacing a world without water with one with all water. But it was rejected due to the high cost such an element would incur in the production. That was until 1989, where Universal Pictures picked up the script and decided to make it themselves, not realizing the origins behind the writing of the film at the time. The film went on to be one of the most infamous box office bombs in history, mainly due to the expensive water effects and set design, but also the fact that producers were found out to be skimming money however they could off the production, finding ways to write in expensive things they want for themselves into the film somehow to technically make it an expense they could bill the studio for. This thing was an overall mess, to say the least. But why would Universal build an attraction such a big box office bomb? Well, that's because they didn't know any better, and they jumped deep into the pool without considering what the strange liquid in it was. You see, for some reason, Universal had high hopes for this film during production, thinking it would be a major tentpole for the company. So, similar to what they did with Jurassic Park a year later, they started putting together the attraction for the film at the same time the movie itself was still in production, and the film had much worse results, to say the least. And yeah, that's why this thing exists. A major stunt show that has lasted far longer than the film has remained in public memory, and is still a beloved attraction within this park despite the issues with its source material. So, does it deserve the hype? Or should it be left to sink? Let's dive into Waterworld. The show here, not the awful movie. So we walk into the show area, which is built to look like a large floating rig made of scrap metal. Allow me to demonstrate why this makes no sense whatsoever. Metal sinks, idiot. In fact, let's do a plot hole counter for this show. I get the feeling we're gonna need it. And as we head into the theater, we move out into the bleachers, awaiting the spectacle sure to come. Metal bleachers in the California summer sun? Damn! Talk about the hot seat.
The future. The polar ice caps have melted, and the continents are deep beneath the waves.
Damn you, Ted Turner! Captain Planet did nothing to save us!
The survivors live on these floating fortresses known as atolls in this place called Waterworld.
You'd think the name Earth would have stuck around pretty well, but gotta get that brand name recognition in, huh?
Brave explorers voyage in search of the legend of dry land, the last remaining on the planet. But the Deacon, maniacal leader of a group of evil raiders called Smokers, is determined to find dry land first.
Hey, gotta go to the tobacco somewhere, am I right?
He's ensured that no explorer has ever returned until now.
Matt, what do you got? It's a woman!
Mac! Keep a lookout!
Helen!
Sage! Come help me!
Bring it in! Oh, it is good to see you alive. Where have you been?
Feast your eyes on this.
Oh, you brought donuts, thank you. Actually, what she found was a bag of dirt, indicating she's been to the mythical dry land. Gotta say, not seeing the hype. However, she has the evil smokers on her tail, forcing the people of the atoll to close the gate to keep them at bay. Pun totally intended. However, a smoker seaplane fires down from the skies, opening up a hole in the metal wall the smokers used to infiltrate the area, forcing the people of the atoll to fend them off with water. Okay, first off, why aren't they firing guns on this guy? We see them used a lot later in the show, so it's not exactly out of concern for the sense of subject matter they become. Second, this world is covered in water! So much so, they changed the name to Waterworld! I don't think being wet is much of a deterrent here. However, the water guns do not stop the villain, who forces the gate open, allowing the evil smokers to send in a large gunboat that opens fire on the whole area. You see, this is why, in a war, you use a gun! So much more effective at stopping people. And sadly, the water guns fail to stop the attackers, who quickly take over the whole atoll, signaling their leader, the Deacon, to ride into the area on a frickin' fan boat? And that leads into another entry for our account. How are they getting the fuel for all this shit? I mean, setting up deep sea oil drilling requires a lot of material that wouldn't be available in a world like this, such as scuba gear or welding materials. So that's clearly not the answer. And with all the land gone, they ain't getting it from there. The smokers and the heroes are loaded up with gas-powered vehicles, yet there's no way in hell they should have access to gasoline. What the heck is going on here?
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Anyway, the evil leader of the smokers, known as the Deacon, arrives, stepping onto the atoll and pulling out a golf club? And another entry for that list. How would this guy even know what golf is? Given the way this world is established, it's clear that it's been underwater for a long damn time. It's not like there's anyone reminiscing about the world before it sank, so it's easy to see that this is the only world they know. So, when and how would a guy who's lived in a world covered in water all his life, would he not only know what golf is, but properly know how to play it? So the Deacon tries to appeal to the crowd, normally getting booed before one of the people of the atoll calls out in defiance.
Yeah, hey, Deacon! We are not your brothers and sisters! Am I right?
Yeah, and thank goodness. I mean, talk about a big family. This is a pretty large audience. Thanksgiving would be hell. So, after the guy is beaten down for speaking up, the Deacon continues to try to get us to help him. Only for Helen to mention that a mysterious hero called the Mariner won't let him have dry land. You do realize that a mariner is the ocean equivalent of a navigator, right? What? Is it gonna chart you to death? But just in case, the smokers seal the gates, and in their continued search for information, they hang another resident of the atoll above a large vat of acid. Because they just have that lying around for some reason. In fact, why do they? It's just a giant hunk of junk that's unnecessary and only takes up the limited space in this giant hunk of metal. However, it turns out the guy has no new info to give them, so they just drop the guy into the acid anyway, only for a mysterious jet ski to appear on the horizon, apparently going under the water just beyond the walls.
He's gone! What does that mean? He's gone under the water!
So you don't understand the concept of diving in a world submerged in water. Why are people scared of you again? Then, suddenly, the Mariner bursts up from a hole in the wall under the water, rising out on a jet ski, providing a distraction to allow Helen to escape. So in all honesty, he's more of a Marine than a Mariner, huh?
He's got condoms, he's got water, and he's kicking our butts.
Oh, so that's why they thought the hoses would be effective. Still stupid. Anyway, Helen used the distraction to climb up higher into the atoll, eventually riding over the water on the side of a hanging cage while continuing to fight off a smoker. Damn, this lady is badass. Why isn't she the hero here? Yeah, I may not have been talking about it much due to it not making for the best riffing material, but the action and stunt work in this show is really damn good. Between some of the insane maneuvers that these performers pull off, to even some of the more simple fight choreography, it's clear a lot of training and thought went into these stunts here, and it shows. It's not like I could pull off anything like that. Gotta say, mad props. So, after a lot of fighting, and more fighting, Helen is captured again. Oh, great. Because the badass heroine who ends up as damsel in distress hasn't been invoked enough yet. And the Mariner attempts to utilize one of the smokers as a hostage to keep the Deacon from firing a missile at him, the Deacon firing anyway because he didn't really care about that henchman. Wow, so our hero was defeated and the bad guy wins, huh? Didn't expect a goofy, campy stunt show to pull such a bold, subversive move, but I have to admire the bravery of pulling out such a different ending from the norm, and he's back, of course he is. So Helen escapes once more, this time inside of the hanging basket, and the seaplane flying overhead is supposedly shot down, causing... That was frickin' badass! So the Deacon and the Mariner battle it out atop the atoll, looking like the Deacon is about to win the fight with a Lion King reference, only for Helen to save our bizarrely named hero, setting the Deacon on frickin' fire before he falls to the seas below to his death. Hey, badass ladies killing bad guys. I'm all for that. However, due to a fuel leak, the flaming corpse of the Deacon sets the water ablaze in flames, forcing our heroes to make a quick escape off to new adventures. So, that was Waterworld, and how big is that plot hole counter again? Editor? Blow it up. This show is awesome! Yes, it has a bunch of plot holes for a show that only lasts 16 minutes. But this show wasn't trying to be some kind of well-thought-out narrative piece. It's an energized, exciting stunt show, and it more than surpassed that goal it set for itself. Dare to say, this is probably the best theme park stunt show ever made. I know some people swear by the Indiana Jones one in Florida, but in all honesty, the water element and the fact that there's a narrative tying this all together, even if it's not the best one, more than makes this superior in my opinion. While I don't go out of my way to attend every time in the park, I always have a damn good time when I do. Check it out. Yeah, so in the end, Universal is the better ocean attraction than Disney. Isn't that ironic? Anyway, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for more mockery and tomfoolery. Goodbye, everyone! Home from filming your latest video! Find anything on that pin, Puppeteer?
Indeed I have. However, it is seeming as if this is not something to be taken lightly.
What do you mean?
Tendo, are you aware of what stood upon that land before the so-called happiest place on Earth?
Yeah, it was an orange grove. Everyone knows that.
Indeed, but I meant before even that.
Not really. That's a bit of an odd ask, actually. What's that about?
Well then, allow me to enlighten you. You see, Tendo, long ago upon those meeting grounds, a group of 7 guardians came together to seal a dangerous beast that fed off of the fears of the masses. A beast known as the Nightmare. It would seem it was sealed there, as land itself was a powerful channeling point for the power of imagination. Something that must have subconsciously driven Walt to build his park on that spot thousands of years later without his knowledge, tapping into that power to bring fun and joy to the masses.
Okay, that's just crazy. What does it even have to do with the pin, anyway?
It would seem this pin is one of 7, Tendo, and the pins are making themselves known as to choose new guardians of imagination in our time.
So you're saying me, Tendo the Seal, was chosen as a guardian? Seriously?
Exactly, Tendo. It would seem you have been chosen as the guardian of tomorrow.
That's a lot to take in. Why me? Why now, anyway?
If I had to guess, the burning dragon a few months ago was a sign of the darker days to come. The nightmare is perhaps near the day of its release, and must be dealt with once more.
What do we do?
Return to Disney. Seek out the other guardians. Only together can you hope to handle such a threat.
I don't know about this. Do we even know what we're looking for?
Based on the texts, the guardians will be as such. The guardian of tomorrow, you. The guardian of death. The guardian of the stars. The guardian of the unknown. The guardian of courage. The guardian of fantasy. And the guardian of song.
Well, it's not much to work on, but to start.
I wish you luck, Tendo. Based on the threat before you, you're going to need it.
Okay, what the hell did I do to get roped into this mess?
Do not forget the pin. It'll be a vital tool in your arsenal.
Okay, well then, since I have to have something to put it on, might as well get it together.
Get what together?
My reviewer outfit. Okay, I'm back.
Yes, so what did you...
So, what do you think?
Okay, that's pretty cool.